Welcome to the Multichain Nation. Today we're thrilled to have with us Kevin, head of growth at Monad, an exciting layer one blockchain platform. And Axelar provides a scalable cross-chain communication platform, allowing Monad to connect seamlessly with other blockchain ecosystems. Thank you for coming on, Kevin.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rudy. Pumped to be here.
Yeah, and there's so much to talk about. And now, right into it. What is Monad?
Yeah, it's a good question. High level, Monad is a scalable EVM compatible layer one blockchain. We try to do a lot of software improvements on how we're utilizing hardware so we can get a lot more throughput and lower fees using hardware requirements which are very similar to Ethereum. So the kind of two main pillars that sit at the core of Monad are performance and decentralization. Um, so at a very high level, there's asynchronous execution, there is parallel execution, there is Monad DB, which is Monad's custom state database. And then the fourth improvement is Monad BFT, or Monad's kind of custom consensus algorithm. So basically, you take those four improvements, build them directly into um, the code base, right? So it's a rewrite of Ethereum from scratch in C++ and Rust. Those are kind of the four key optimizations that are added in. And then, yeah, aiming to have about 10,000 transactions per second with, yeah, really reasonable hardware requirements. That's the key.
Nice. I've been hearing it's funny how much like new Rust projects have been coming out in general. I feel like that's the new compiler that everyone's been talking about. So it's exciting to see a whole blockchain being built using Rust and C++. And it was built off of Ethereum, you said, and a
Yeah,
complete scratch. So that's pretty exciting to hear. It's kind of hard to get off of Ethereum, but now it looks like you're no, like we're doing Ethereum too, but kind of better and making it its own new fork. So could you go a little bit more just of how it differs from Ethereum in that aspect?
yeah, for sure. And for a little bit of background on Monad, um, so it was initially started in the beginning of 2022. So Keone Han and James Hunsaker are the two technical co-founders. They worked together on the same high frequency trading team at Jump for right around 8 years. Then they worked on Jump's crypto team for about 6 months. Saw how Solana worked and saw a lot of like the all the benefits that Solana provided by being very fast and very cheap. And then saw a bunch of like base improvements that they thought they could build into a blockchain itself, and while also maintaining EVM compatibility. So at that point, they left Jump in 2022, started on the path to build Monad, and now, almost 2.5 years later, just about production ready. Chain, yeah, is almost there. Um, and yeah, so the key. Let me think about how to break it down. So some of the key components, um, or really the secret sauce, is that uh, the state databases that are used for blockchains are actually commodity databases, which means they're not blockchain specific. So the way that data is stored and retrieved from state is using just a normal database architecture, which again don't want to get too technical. I'm not sure what the base audience is here, but the important thing to take away is that they're not blockchain specific architectures, right? So like if you worked at a Web2 company and you wanted to store a bunch of data, like you would use a commodity database. So what Bonnet is looking to do is to take SSDs where all this data is stored and juice them for all that the hardware can provide by writing really efficient and performant software. Um, so that is really the key unlock. It's like there's all this latent potential that currently exists in Ethereum nodes and a lot of different validators that just isn't being used. So if we can use the hardware to its full potential by writing really good software to use it, then you get a much more performant system without needing to like use a ton of RAM or get really expensive minimum validated requirements. So that is really the goal and the key. Like I described some of the kind of fundamental optimizations that are built into Monad earlier. Um, but yeah, really the main thing is trying to take full advantage of hardware that currently exists or currently used in blockchains. And instead of using like, 0.1% of the potential of what these computers can do, see if we can get that up into like the tens of percents, right? Get it fundamentally optimized, and just build a much more performant system that way.
It's amazing because the technical aspect of it is exciting and interesting, but there's so much competition out there. You're starting a new blockchain. This industry is already filled with people. And as head of growth, I'm sure your most difficult challenge is spreading the message, spreading the news, and let the people know. Like, how do you give us some tips on how you've helped build the community of Monad? It's a great community. It's thriving. Give us some tips.
Yeah. So I think there's a few kind of key aspects of like community building that kind of have gotten iterated on, and actually the important part have been lost over time in crypto, to the point where now when people think about community, they think about, oh, pre-token project, there's a bunch of farmers in there. What can you get all those farmers to do that can like put up fake metrics that can make my blockchain seem, better than the rest and help stand out? So like questing platforms, basically trying to reduce people to like numbers and then
Yep.
use those numbers to try to get other people to care. Um, and I think that that's just like fundamentally broken. So like some things that we've done, or actually maybe more importantly, some things that we haven't done, where we've never done any form of automated questing. So anything that like degrades what an organic person would want in their community, we completely throw out the window, right? So there's no like, oh, go like this tweet and then click this button to prove you liked it, and then you're gonna get,
Get a
1 point
reward.
on your
Yeah.
account, and then you can like rank up your points, and then so like anything that can be automated, is definitely thrown out. It takes much longer to get to critical mass of like, it's very attractive if you can just put questing out and then get a bunch of likes on a tweet in like a week, right? You're going to
Yeah.
seem like your metrics are really good. But then, if you're trying to play a 5-10 year game, you're not actually making progress there, right? It looks like there's this quick bump and then people realize everything is fake. The actual community experience stinks. So we really put like the individual experience first. We do a ton of things that aren't even related to like Monad, the product, at all, right? It's just talking to people one on one, like doing fun events, like just making it the, we're trying to make it like the most fun place to hang out on the internet rather than, some group of farmers in Discord,
You're making it a
which is
human
kind of
experience. It's beautiful.
right. Right. It's like, I was having a conversation yesterday, and I think the best way to describe it is like, people that spend a lot of time on crypto Twitter, they're not necessarily doing it because they think like they're doing it because they enjoy it. And people that try to go out and like get followers or get engagement, like they're doing it because they like the social validation. They like the feeling of like, leveling up in like a qualitative way. Um, they're not necessarily thinking what is exactly monetizable about this strategy, right? They just genuinely enjoy the experience, and then they like the feeling of moving forward and like making connections and friends that way. And I think that that doesn't really exist in any strong way in any other communities, but that is like truly the driving force, on the Monad front. Like a crazy amount of people, honestly, at this point have like made their entire social profiles like Monad specific. Almost all of their online friends are also in the Monad community. Like it's where the same way that you probably open crypto Twitter just to see what's happening and to hang out and like see what other people are saying. Like that is what the Monad community has become to a lot of people, um, which is awesome, right? Like we have, organically people are just throwing, community events in Thailand and India and,
Oh
Hong
wow.
Kong and all of these other places, and they're just like meeting up with hundreds of other people that are part of the Monad community because they want to hang out with them. Um, and like I said, a lot of the time Monad is like the thing that kind of brought them together, but it's not necessarily at like the only thing they're talking about or the only thing they're going to do. Like it's just kind of the rallying call that a lot of these people have. So um yeah,
As
in terms of tips and tricks, like it depends on what stage you're at. Like early on, you want to do a ton of things that do not scale. Like if your community is less than 300 real people talking in it every day, like you should have had a one-on-one conversation with every single one of those people. Um, like figuring out how to get the community connected with themselves instead of just like speaking to them, like
Mhm.
talking with them is just the biggest difference, honestly. And I think it's a mindset shift more than anything. Like when you view it that way, you're going to make a lot of decisions that put the individual experience first instead of like trying to think what you can juice out of your community for your own benefit.
That's amazing because your role, the dream expectation is for Monad to one day be able to handle this environment, making their own communities, talking amongst themselves and building. But I'm sure it still feels super exciting to see it actually come to fruition for yourself.
Yeah, it's been it's been a long journey. Like I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you know, we see what Monad's community looks like we want to do a similar thing. Like, what do we do? Like, well, what's your time horizon? Like we've been
Yeah.
kind of curating, doing this one on one, no questing, um, creating experiences for coming up on 2 years now. It's not just going to happen in like 3 months, right? It's
No.
like truly a long form, kind of like a 1% better each day type of thing. Um, so yeah, now it's like early on, not having that traction, like we knew we were making a trade off, but seeing that kind of start to pay off on like long term type things, seeing like true friendships being created. Um, yeah, it's super fulfilling, right? And I think it gets more fun the bigger it gets, right? It's like there's just more leverage behind everything now, which is yeah, definitely cool to see.
And for people that don't follow Kevin, they should on Twitter because I think you share some of your tips and tricks online as you progress and grow and develop Monad, and it's super helpful. I feel like it's just good to see. So now the community is growing. It's taking care of itself almost. What are the future plans for Monad and like the upcoming developments you have?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy to think about. Like almost all of the community and growth type of things have happened pre-product, right? So there isn't even a test net for users to go and check out. Um, there will be very soon for people to go and play around and actually see this thing in the wild, which was very exciting. Um, we will start actively onboarding applications to our private test net, and that will kind of look like a hockey stick type of growth, right? So we'll go from maybe 3 teams checking it out and building to um, 5 to then 15 to then 150 um, plus, and that we expect to happen over the course of the next few months here. Um, and then it's really just trying to break down testnet, try to get really cool apps building on it, make sure every single box is checked, and then go live and see what high fidelity DeFi looks like in the wild, or what type of scale consumer facing apps can get to when they really don't have the restrictions on throughput and fees that they would basically have to choose in today's environment.
Nice. And for more community questions, how do you handle a community that's super excited and almost becoming impatient for a release? How do you relay that message to them, and how do you organize that?
Yeah, I think of it as like um, there's almost like two aspects, right? One is
Mm-hmm.
the community aspect itself, and then one is the monad side. Um, so the community aspect itself has never been stronger, right? Like it just continues to grow. The amount of people that are doing like crazy high output contributions, like creating art, movies, everything is just like continues to move up and to the right, which is great. Like we continue to put more resources into that, more team bandwidth. like I feel confident saying we put 5x the amount of energy into community than like anyone else in all of this space. And I think you have to like to maintain kind of what we're doing. Like it just takes a lot of time and like genuine thought. Um, but yeah, so I think that side, like we have some really big ideas in store that we're going to continue to execute on. Um, and yes, I think on the monad specific side, right, we're just super transparent with them. And like any updates that we have, like there are there are actually sneaky a lot of updates that have come out about Mana that only the community is aware of. We've like there's an extremely high level of trust with them. So like any announcement that we have coming out, like they know first. We always tell them first. We're like, guys, you know, you're maybe it'll be in like the lock telegram, which only has 1,000 people in it, or to like the top roles in the Discord. We'll let them know ahead of time, like, hey, this is coming out tomorrow. If you want to create some content around it, like more than welcome to. Um, please don't leak this anywhere. Like this is kind of privileged information. We're only letting you know because again, we have this high level of trust with you guys. Um, and it's crazy. Like you would think you tell 3,000 people on the internet that this thing is coming out and like, oh, it's on the internet. Everyone knows it's leaked everywhere. I'd say we've done that maybe anywhere from like probably like 6 to 12 times. Maybe probably right around 10 times. And there's been like 4 total tweets that have ever come out about anything we put out. And then they're immediately kicked out, right? It's like, all right, you broke the circle of trust, you're done.
Wow.
So people know that it's like, all right, it is privileged information. We'll keep it between us. It's only a day to wait, whatever. But then you have to be like, look, if you break the circle of trust, you're done. Like you're out of the group, you're purged, your roles are gone. Um, so yeah, I think like they know a lot about what's going on with Monad and the tech side. That is not public anywhere else. So I think just like being informed and knowing that we're being fully transparent and letting them know about updates as they come. As yeah, it just creates like you can probably think about, you know, 100 people on the internet that you have like an extremely surface level relationship with. And then maybe like 5 or 10 that you know like in a much deeper way. That is like a legitimate genuine dynamic relationship. And I think just fostering and trying to move towards that with everyone is like the most important thing. So I think that like people in the community are much less impatient. I think like other people probably see it and they're like, oh, when is this launching? We want to hear about it, all this stuff. Like I've been hearing about Monad for 6 months. Where is it? Um, but yeah, I think on the community front, it's kind of strong in that, right? It's like your buddy's building something, you're excited for it to come out. But yeah, you kind of, you know, when you know what's going on, you feel like you're part of the inside group. It's much more palatable.
Yeah. And those are the people that really make the culture, and that's what you want. The people who are complaining on the sidelines aren't aren't probably going to be the real users of Monad. The community that you're building are going to be the real users of Monad, and that's great that you have them just on your side and ready to be there. Um, and you know, as you're developing and also working, I believe, with XR to integrate or have the ability to cross communicate with other blockchains. How was that decision done as a team? Was that kind of a no brainer, or was there a lot of thought into making that decision?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that there is a lot of thought, but working with Axelar is like obviously a no brainer. Um,
Yeah.
like when you are a standalone L1, like connectivity to the rest of the crypto eco is everything, right? The vast majority of people that come to use Monad are going to be like bridging over, or the first thing that they use is actually a cross chain application, which is, you know, running on Monad, but they're using it from somewhere else. So being as plugged in as possible to like the broader crypto ecosystem of other L1s and L2s is super important. And I know like a number of people on our team have had, you know, multiple touch points with Axelar over time. Great team to work with, obviously, extremely extremely strong tech on that side. So, you know, very easy to
Awesome.
basically like continue the relationship with Axelar, and also like a super valuable thing that comes to Monad. So yeah, I think, maybe on Axelar's side, the impatiency front, right? Like when is Monad going to be live? We're like expecting a ton of cross chain communication. We're excited for that. Um, but yeah, I think, no brainer to work with the team.
Awesome.
Um, especially on the like, I would say Axelar just gets the community front a little bit better than like a lot of other people that we've worked with in the past, which like when that is like kind of the core, the driver from Monad's front, um it makes it very simple. We're kind of just on the same page right away. So
Nice. And then like, so then we have these like community members from all sides coming in, and they're looking at Monad. And what are different ways community members can get involved with Monad, especially from outside and within?
yeah, I would say it depends who the person is. Um, like if you're a developer, you're probably going to take a much different path than if you are just like a crypto trader enthusiast versus if you like work full time in crypto. But maybe like to paint kind of a general picture. Um, we don't use any captcha or bot stuff in the Discord. Again, kind of like if it's an automated way to do something, then you're taking away from the actual user experience, and you are, you know, ironically helping bots get access that just want to come in and farm. So our process to get into the Discord is you go and join, and then you're just put in this room called the newbie room. Um, and instead of proving to a robot via captcha or clicking on stoplights or buses or whatever that you're human, like you just hang out in there for a little bit. And like there's a lot of mods that are constantly watching in the room. And like you just prove that you're a real person, right? Like just do stuff that a real person would do, right? Like maybe you make some dumb meme or like you make a joke, like any witty remark, and you'll just immediately be picked up. So it's like, I don't know. If you come in with like a good meme and a good remark, like you'll just be added in 30 seconds. It's pretty simple. Um, Sometimes it takes people like 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, you gotta prove that you're an actual person. And that's been massive in keeping bots out of like the general chats and a lot of the other stuff that we're doing in the broader Discord. Which again, like if you join a Discord and there's like 14 people that just say GM, you're probably just going to drop a GM and then you're like, I'm not talking to anyone. There's nothing
Yeah,
going on. And then you leave. Um,
I'm guilty of that
so yeah, I
too.
think like, yeah, join the newbie spot, like meet one of the mods. They'll knight you very quickly if you are a real human. Um, and then, yeah, you'll be in the chat and you kind of go down the rabbit hole, learn some of the lore, learn some of the mascots and the characters, and yeah, just see if it's for you.
Awesome. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much for sharing your experience, sharing what Monad does. Where should people find you, find Monad, and any place they should go see?
Yeah, I would say definitely check out the Discord. Right, I think there's a lot of people in the community that talk about Mana community in a very positive light, and then there's people that like just try to make random judgment calls just from the outside. Like they don't actually want to accept that a community can be real people, just because their only pattern recognition is that like everything is bots and farmers and everything is fake in crypto. So I would just be like, encourage someone to just try it, right? Join the Discord and see what it's like for yourself. And then yeah, on Twitter, right, at monad_xyz. We'll have some pretty big updates coming out in the near future. Um, and yeah, I would say just like number one rec is come in, try out the community, check out the socials, see if it's something that's interesting. If not, no hard feelings at all. Yeah, if so, I feel like we're cooking on something that's kind of original, and I think a lot of people see as a bit refreshing in a place where there's so much automation. So yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Definitely refreshing. And like how you said, everything is so automated now, especially in crypto, because of the issues we're having with bots and your unique solutions, and just also like raw human power and community solving the issue. that we hate to see so much is showing off. And if anyone here is listening that wants to like, be part of a different community that they're probably used to seeing, it'd be great to join Monad, and I'm looking forward to joining myself. So thanks again, Kevin, and best of
Cool.
luck.